And welcome to If You Can Make It Here. I'm Mike Marza. This is a space where we try to find out what it takes to make it here. People who have made it, people who are making it. What's the secret? How do you turn a setback into a comeback? I'm so excited about our guest today. If you watch the Howard Stern show, you certainly know her voice, Mariann from Brooklyn.
All I need. Did I make it? I'm surprised. Now that I'm here, I guess I made it.
I guess you made it. I'll tell you, I love your story. I've watched you and listened to you for years on Howard Stern. You started calling into his show like more than 25 years ago.
Right.
It's incredible the fandom that he's built, and you've become kind of this #1 fan in a lot of ways. But you're in this new movie out right now, and I want to jump right in with that because Marty Supreme, already Golden Globe winning film,
well deserved, so deserved.
Timothée Chalamet won for
Right.
Best Actor. It's getting a lot of Oscar buzz. The director loved Howard Stern, loves the show.
Right. Josh Safdie, amazing man, amazing human, incredible,
So
talented, smart, kind,
So he-
humble, which you don't find in these like circuits.
Right, and so
Right.
he's listening to Stern. He's casting this movie. And how does that work? He calls you, or a casting person calls you?
He knows my voice. Well, he said in Vanity Fair, and they reached out to me through Instagram, and I didn't respond for like 6 months because I didn't think it was legit, so I didn't. But then the casting
You
director,
thought it was fake.
Right. The casting director, Jennifer Vendetti, reached out and texted me and said, "Here's my number, call me," and I did. And she said, "Josh really wants you." And I go, "I'm not an actress. I can't do it." I said, "No way." And she said, No, you have to come." So I went in the summer of 2024, and they couldn't have been nicer. It was like a setup like this, and I practiced lines. I was supposed to be Marty's mother's friend, who Sandra Bernhardt got the part. So they made me play it rough and tough, and I was screaming and cursing, which I'm very good at. I'm a natural, but I didn't get that part. But that was okay. I wasn't expecting any part. So 4 months later, they call me back, and they go, "Josh really wants you for another part. Just come in this day." I go, "No, I can't." So the day they asked me to come in was the day that I did that part, you know.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So this is all very quick. This
Right,
is happening very
quick.
quickly. So,
Right.
I mean, you're...
So I went to hair and makeup at 6 o'clock in the morning. They gave me the lines like about the shoes and the size and whatever.
Yeah, so what did you end up playing? You play a
I
woman
played just a woman in a shoe store
in
right.
Brooklyn?
Right. Well, no, that's the Barry. It was
okay.
the Barry in New York City in the 50s.
So-
yeah.
so
Which
19
I love. I'm very familiar with. My family had a store there and stuff, and I grew up down there, like hanging out like a little brat that I was.
So this was kind of not a stretch for you to play this
Right,
character.
right.
Take me into that day. You're going through hair and makeup. When do you meet Timothée Chalamet?
Well, I get in my seat in the shoe store, and I see some other familiar faces like, Ratso and some other people there. He's popular from Howard, but there's an extra and there's Timothée, and they look like exactly alike, and I have no clue who Timothée is in person. So we sit down and we start, and Timothy's putting the shoes on and off for like a couple of hours, and then they take a break, and I say to someone next to me, I go, "When is Timothée going to come out?" And they go, "That's Timothée." And I'm like, "Oh, my God, that's Timothée. Shame on me. I'm sorry." But he couldn't, and because I spoke to him like I'm speaking to you. So,
Right.
like, "You got to go get your contacts out." He had wore contacts. I said, "I'm a mother, I'm a mother. I'll say I'm 67. I'm a grandmother." So I'm like, I'm worried about him. He's working hard. They're back and forth. There's a lot of lights. He had contacts, so they had to take them in and out for him. And he needed a break, it was heavy duty. So
So wait a minute. You're on the set for 2 seconds.
Right.
You're telling Timothée Chalamet, "Hey, you need to take care of yourself."
Yeah, and also he was very good to me. He asked about me, how I got the part, and how I knew Josh. Like, he was interested in how I was, which was amazing.
What an incredible
Yeah.
experience. What was your
Amazing.
line? Do you remember the line?
My line was like, "Do you have these in a 9.5? Because these are too tight, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "I don't have them," which is the point of if Josh is listening. So with that, I had another line where I turned to Odessa, who I absolutely adore.
You can
She's
turn to
amazing.
this camera right here if you want to do it again.
I turned to Odessa, and I say to her, like I'm saying to her, "You're interrupting me with my sale. Like, who are you?" You know what I mean? So that line they cut out, but I'm grateful to have a line. But that Odessa is amazing. You think about Hollywood and you hear a lot of negative, and I've seen some people that haven't been that nice. So when I think of these people, I think, wow, what a refreshing type of situation. The fact that even Timothée is promoting the movie the way he did, and the Golden Globe speech to saying he's, so grateful. That's very refreshing, not to hear all this like political or negative vibe of people or people being so frou-frou. Like he's on the street all over the place.
And he's
everywhere.
a New Yorker.
Right.
He went to LaGuardia.
Absolutely.
Was that special to be in that moment?
Of course. Right. He knew, like he even asked me about certain things, what I knew. I told him, I know all of downtown Manhattan and here and there. We were talking about it.
Gwyneth Paltrow is also in the movie.
She was amazing.
How did you meet her, and what was that experience
Well,
like?
she was next to me the first day in hair and makeup, but I know the rules, so I kept my blinders on, and she looked beautiful, of course. So I was there, and I was watching my P's and Q's, and then like a couple of months later, I get another text from Josh in the morning. Josh Safdie, the director, who's amazing, texts me and says, "Can you come and do a small interview thing with like a few people?" So I said, "When?" Like, and you know me, I'm home at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm cleaning, I'm making coffee. I go, "Oh, do I have to?" I'm always worrying of like, how do I have to look? Do I have to be dressed? Do I have? So he said, "No, just come casual and come down to the museum of Transit Museum in downtown Brooklyn." So I said, "Sure, I could come by 1 o'clock." So I put my Yankee shirt on because it's Yankee season, and I go down, and they couldn't have been nicer. They escorted. I go. Meanwhile, I don't want to take the train, but I'm in the subway system. I'm thinking more of rats than people, to tell you the truth, to be honest. So I'm down there, and they escort me, and they give me some. They go, "You're going to ask the cast questions." I said, "Me? I'm going to." So now it's Gwyneth, it's Timothée, it's Tyler. It's a new boy, Luke, who was discovered from Josh by the internet. He did a Knicks thing. I can't think of his last name. Luke, a nice boy. His first time acting. He's got a great role
in this film.
In this film,
wow.
Right? So I have those people there, and Gwyneth, and I'm asking all these questions about how they felt, and I'm saying, "Am I really doing this?" But before, I jumped the gun. So I'm sitting in a car, like an empty train car. And who comes walking in? Timothée. But, he says, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Hi, how are you?" And he goes, "Mariann?" I said, "Yeah." So,
because he's a fan of Stern as well, right?
He's not a big not that he's a Howard fan. He doesn't say. I didn't ask him. I wasn't gonna, I didn't ask personal questions. But he was a fan of the Yankees, and I had a Yankee shirt on, and so did he that day. Hi, it's Mariann from Brooklyn. Hey, Mariann. Timothée and Gwyneth Paltrow. Who knew? But when he saw me, I had fainted at the end of the movie. Did you know that? At the end of my part. So,
no, I did not know.
He said, "Yeah, so should I go? Which way should I go? Forward or back?" To tell you, I fainted at the very end because when Josh was going over the lines, he's a perfectionist. It was like 8 o'clock at night. They had these very bright lights on me, and I'm a fainter. And they had me in very spandex, which I don't wear, Spanx, and polyester dress, coat, stockings.
This is 1950s.
Right,
types of
garb, hair, makeup, and the heat got to me. So I felt it coming on. So I said, "You have to," because they were just taking shots of me, and I don't know how that works. So I said, "Excuse me, I have to get up a minute." So they said, "Sure." As I was getting up to walk out to get fresh air, I fainted. But I had myself grounded. I knew it was coming. So he remembered I fainted, and he said to me, "Why did you get up?" I said, "Because I felt it coming on, and I didn't want to faint." There was thousands of people around me, so I figured maybe fainting over there is better than fainting over here. I don't know. I got a story. You didn't know you were going to get. Look, I made it, and I fainted, and I'm still in the movie. I really made it. I know.
You did. So what was the response? Obviously, the crew.
The response was incredible. The makeup man who has fainted before, Joe, got ice packs of Coca-Cola and put them on me, and they got me a smelling salt, which I carry now, to bring me back quickly, and I did. Yeah.
Wow. So the whole experience, and you're okay now, right?
Yeah. You know what it was? It was all day not eating or drinking water or focusing on that, just like staying in the zone and trying to prepare myself because I'm not used to that,
This is an all-day shoot.
Yeah, all day. And from 6 o'clock in the morning. So I got up at 3 o'clock to have my coffee, take a shower, get ready. The car came at 6. They sent the car for me. A beautiful guy drove me, very nice. And, and then I'm in makeup and hair. I'm not used to any of that. So, it's a little stress. And I'm extremely modest. So I'm, trying on clothes in front of people. And I'm, putting on Spanx and taking them off. But they couldn't have been nicer and more modest as well, but hair, makeup. Look at me. I'm threw blush on. My blush must be 20 years old. I have one mascara and a ballistics. That's my makeup.
You look terrific.
So that's my makeup. So anyway, it was more than am used to, you know.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
What other conversations did you have with Timothée Chalamet? Did he talk about Kylie? Did we get into personal stuff at all?
No. But so then after that, and we were getting prepared to go in the next subway car, they all greeted me like I was, you know, part of that big group and a celebrity or whatever you want to say, or friend. They were so good to me, and I was behind I was just behind the step back. But Timothy said, "Why is she standing there? I wanted to sit here." So if you look at the tape, it's on Instagram, social media. If you look at the tape, I go to sit near them, and I'm in shock that I go like I'm really here with Timothée Chalamet and Gwyneth Paltrow. And like, of course, I said his name 1,000 times wrong, but I'm getting it correct now because when I'm on Howard, I'm so flustered, you know. I love you, Howard. All I need. Without you, Howard, I wouldn't be here. So the journey is from the Howard Stern Show.
It is a remarkable story, and
right.
I want to go back to that moment because you've been listening to Howard for more than 35 years,
right.
But you started calling into the show more than 25 years ago. What made you want to call in?
Okay, so I started with the Channel 9 show. I was pregnant with my daughter. Me and my husband would watch it all the time. And I always liked David Susskind and Outrageous Things, if people even know who that is anymore. And I felt like those things we say are better said than we're hiding behind, you know, like it's not so bad. Like if you give the F-bomb, are you allowed to say that? I don't know. If you do, you know, like it's not that bad. So why do people make that so bad? So Howard didn't make it bad. He made it fun and laughable. So I love the Channel 9. And then my family's in the gun business. My brother made a collectible gun for Stone Cold Steve Austin, and my son was an incredible fan. And Stone Cold invited my nephew and my son, and my brother went to an event the night before Madison Square Garden. So they had a great time, and Stone Cold couldn't have been nicer.
This is like 1999.
Yeah, something
roughly,
like that,
yeah.
exactly. So Stone Cold was on the day. My husband took the two kids to school. I had that small radio underneath my cabinet because it was K-Rock. There was no Sirius or anything.
Exactly.
I had that and I'm a radio person because my grandmother listened to John B. Gambling, and in her kitchen in Bensonhurst, I was always in tune to the radio. So anyway, so now Stone Cold was on, and a woman calls that he was so nasty, and I go, how could she say that? I have to call. So I got the number, I called, and Stuttering John answered at the time, and he said, who is this? And I said, Mariann from Brooklyn, because and I got right on. So I started saying, oh, Stone Howard, I love you more than anything, and Stone Cold. And I wasn't planning on
You were
calling.
more energetic than that, though.
Right. Well, you want me to... Stone Cold! Mariann from... Well, I'll tell you how energetic I was. Howard said to Stone Cold, you're never going to get a hard on again. You're never going to want to, have sex after hearing her voice. You never, So it was a joke, and it didn't bother me. I went with the flow, right.
Has your voice always been so distinctive?
Yes. Went to school, take it down a notch, take it down 20 decibels. Can't you, whatever. But how can I? When I was 5 years old, I had very bad tonsils and adenoids, and they took it out. So maybe they did something to me then, or maybe this is just my voice that everybody recognizes now. So, but I never felt insecure about my voice. Like, it never bothered me. This was my voice.
Right.
Do I like my nose? No. But is my voice bothering me? No. But I know it can be trying at times. I could try to take it down, but it's not easy.
You've never been mistaken as somebody from the Midwest or something like that. It's very distinct. No. It's very Brooklyn.
When I was in Vegas and I put $10 on number 17 on going back when I was in my 20s, and I won $350, and I started screaming ballistic, and the Texas guy next to me said, you're definitely from New York. I said, I am.
You kept calling in.
Right.
Howard fell in love.
Yes.
You became part of it. For people who maybe are not that familiar with the fandom of Howard Stern, there's the Whack Pack. You kind of became the queen of the Whack Pack,
the
leader,
of the Whack
the mother, right? The mother.
But really, there's more. I happen to be an outspoken, loyal fan, but there's a very, very loyal base that sticks together for the show, and we're very connected. And Howard just signed 3 more years with Sirius Radio, which is huge at 72 years old. And he's got this very connected audience because he takes us away from the everyday nonsense that we listen to all the time. And that's what it does. It takes you, and it became a very big extended family, like Ronnie, Sal, Richard, Mike Perlman, all the people that are the core, staff and workers. That's a big extended family like you have here at ABC. You know, they
Yeah,
have
no,
that
I
there.
totally get it. Yeah,
Right.
no, it's
I
very
don't know
comforting.
if they have the whack pack. But like, I think we only have it.
You're right. You only have. You're you're such a big fan. You have a shrine to him in Bay Ridge
Right.
at
I
your
have all
home,
my ring, my all I need, my bracelets here. All I need, my ring, and
which is a song that you.
right. All I need. I was in the song. Every contest that I've entered for Howard, I've lost every single one. But every contest has brought me some, like, I don't know.
You even
It's
bought
inspired me.
you bought a billboard
Yes,
for
I
his
did a billboard the other day.
renewal
Right.
of his contract in Times Square.
Every year I make a Christmas card. In fact, I brought you yours. Every year I make a Christmas card. It became a very, very popular thing because people write to me, and I wrote 1,000 Christmas. I'm old-fashioned. I go to the post office. I buy stamps. I write cards, and every year there's a theme to my card. So the fans love the card because some people don't get cards, and some people don't have a family, and some people are sitting alone in, whether they're in Brooklyn or I don't know where, they're listening to the radio, and that radio is a very good connection as like a family or a staple. What's that? Like a routine.
Right.
So that's what it is, you know.
It's wild, honestly, to be talking to you because I've been listening to you for so
Howard's
long.
an incredible man. He
He
such
brings
a
a
good
lot of
man.
people
Yeah,
together,
right.
and I mentioned the billboard. You paid like a couple $100 to have this in Times Square,
What's
which
that?
is
Do I need another big outfit? No, I'd
Huge
rather put
honor.
it towards that, you know.
But
that makes me happy.
Well, and you met him in 2001 for the first time,
Right.
There's a great video online about
Right.
that meeting.
Right.
You were very excited,
Right,
as you
right.
are.
And I went on a whim because don't forget that was before September 11th,
Right.
and there wasn't this crazy not crazy, but to get in.
The
somewhere.
security was less.
I went in. It was down on 57th and 6th Avenue there, and I said to my husband, I have to go meet him because they keep saying they want to meet me, right? So I just went in on a whim. I drove. He took the kids to school. I drove. I parked my car. I'm a city person. I know what I'm doing, you know. And I went downstairs and I said to the security, and they go, "What?" And they couldn't believe I was down there. And they let me up, and they couldn't believe it. And Howard said, "She's not that bad looking." And I said, "That's because my voice is so bad. You know."
No,
That's,
I know that's what he said.
My voice is so bad, but it was.
It's-
And then I met him, and it's a great journey. It's an I wouldn't change it for anything. I absolutely love the show. I'm very passionate about Howard. I'm very loyal. If you're going to say something negative, I'm going to knock you down, and you know I am. So
That was a special moment in 2001.
Right.
You met Howard for the first time.
Right.
And then several months later, 9/11.
yes,
And your sister-in-law
right,
was one of the victims.
yes, at Cantor Fitzgerald.
She died in one of the
Right.
towers.
And September 12th, because my husband knew I was a big fan, and we were thinking at that time, we were still thinking that people were in hospitals because there was no information. Just think about it, 24 hours later. So my husband said to me, I got the chills. I really can't believe it all these years now, 25 years later. Said, I want you to call Howard because he's very private. And he goes, I want you to say Jody's name and see if we could find her in the hospital because we had hope. We had no idea.
And your last name is Tepedino.
Right.
So
so I
Put your mic
called,
down a little.
I
It's hiding
called
your
and I
face.
said it, and Howard right away said, let her go on the air and say it, and we did. And then people were calling me and trying to find out if I could, sort of help them. But then at that morning, still, we had hope. We thought there was.
Go ahead.
We thought there was, a chance. And Howard gave me that opportunity too. And after that, Howard gave me many days where my family was in very, deep depression, my husband especially, that I kept listening to the radio to push myself forward to keep taking care of my family. Don't forget, my daughter was in the 4th grade. My son just started NYU, lost his wallet, came home the night before. I said, I'll drive you back. I was going to go drive him back that morning of. And, I had just dropped my daughter off at school. And then it was like just craziness, unexpected. To me, the world changed after that forever. No. I traveled all my life. After September 11th, I got on a plane twice. It was very, very difficult for me. And I take Amtrak to Florida. I don't take the subway in New York. Sometimes I'm stuck in the tunnel. I'm petrified, but I fight my fears. But I live with a lot of fear. But behind this, screaming and happiness, because Howard brings out that in me that I could take myself away from my fear and enjoy my day.
Gosh,
Yeah.
To think 25 years.
Right.
I mean, it's just.
Imagine that.
And every year, and
Right.
the reading of the names, and I
Right.
know that opens
Yeah.
a whole
It's
nother set of
terrible.
wounds.
We should never forget it, and we should do as much as we can to keep telling everybody's story and keeping them alive. And if you go on Facebook, there's a lot of people that they show all the time, or Instagram. I follow the 9/11. My husband read the name once. We were down there before they even fixed it. It's like something you could not believe, would not want to see, would not want to experience, and it's
Jody
tragic.
Tapatino.
Right. Very tragic, yeah.
Family's such a huge part of your life.
Right.
I know you two kids, right?
Right.
And they're now grown. But
Right.
we both live in Brooklyn.
Right.
Brooklyn's changed a lot.
Yes.
You grew up, or you were born, I guess, in Bensonhurst.
Right, Bensonhurst. 21st between Bath and Benson.
What was it like back then?
Amazing. There was Jan's a block away, something else, all the stores, shopping, going to the drugstore for my mother, getting her hair done, we had nice neighbors. We played on the block. We rode our bikes. We had a pool, one of the old-fashioned pools in the backyard. Everybody came over. My mother made food for everybody. My brother used to go to the Yankee games with all his friends on the train. My mother made sandwiches. We had a very nice. We had an old-fashioned fruit store on the corner that he would actually pick the fruit, for my mother, my grandmother, or the vegetables, put them in a paper bag and deliver them on a bike, really old school stuff. We had our salsa delivered, our milk, what am I, 100 years old?
No, but the milkman, right?
And then you could pick like breads and cakes, and we loved that stuff. So we picked what we wanted. He'd come with a big tray. It was a lot of fun.
You went to Adelphi.
Yes.
What were you like in school?
What am I like now, wacky? Have I changed?
By the way, this isn't the first movie you've been in.
Right.
You did a small part in another movie, right?
I was in Tony and Tina's wedding. They had a play. A director from Bay Ridge knew me, and Tony Travis they wanted my voice. I read the script to Mila Kunos. I read a whole script with this voice because they wanted that Bensonhurst sort of Brooklyn twang.
Take pictures. I'm paying you to take pictures.
So I read that, and then they gave me a part in that. I was in a bar. I was drunk. So it went to the Tribeca Film Festival, but after that it tanked.
What year was this, like 2012?
No, 206.
206,
206, yeah. And then a teacher from one of the schools in Brooklyn, I think Leo Goldstein, was a fan. And I was in my plumber's office, and my plumber picked up the phone, and he said, "Oh, I'm here with my customer, Mariann." And he heard us talking. He goes, "Oh, my God, Mariann from Brooklyn." So he put me in some Blood Kisses movie he made.
Did you ever thinking back to Mariann in Bensonhurst, in those early years in Brooklyn, running the streets with your friends, to think that you would be in a movie that's getting Oscar buzz, already winning awards?
I know. I know. I always was a class clown, and I always wanted to make people feel happy, and always try to pick up the underdog. But did I ever think about a movie? No, never. And someone like Josh, who reaches out to people, like a Howard. Howard opens his door to people that are shunned. Shunned, is that how you say shunned? And Josh gave people, unexpected people, that turn that they not that they deserve,
give
but
them a shot,
right? That they fit in, and why not? Like you gave me the shot to come here today.
This is incredible. I'm so glad that you came.
I just saw Stephen Smith walk out of the building. You know what I mean? But he's not Howard. If it was Howard, I would really go berserk. But I'm just saying, who would come here? A local newspaper call me, and people are reaching out to me, and it's incredible because I do love the movie, and I love Howard. So if I could talk about those two things and stop talking about myself for a minute, that's really the key.
The energy on the Howard calls, much different than here.
Right.
I mean, when you call in, you get really into it.
Well, you want me?
Just a little bit.
First of all, you're not Howard.
No,
Let's get that straight.
No, I'm not.
Screw you, man. You're not Howard. All I need is Howard in my life. Without Howard, this would not be happening. Anything that has happened to me has happened because of the Howard Stern Show. He's my number one, my main man. I love the show. I love everything about it. Baba Booey! Hit him with the horn! Well,
Mariann from Brooklyn.
Thank you so much. It's amazing. I'm glad I met you.
It's amazing to
meet you.
Thanks for coming in.